Hey there, I'm Jama, and over the past few years, I've become very interested in onomatology, the study of names. I've never really liked my name until I researched the meaning of it. My name means paradigm shifter, and I'd like to shift your paradigm by shining a light on onomatology and how it can potentially help you find your purpose, help you communicate better with others, or even both. In each episode, I ask someone 8 basic questions regarding their first name. So sit back, relax, and try to shift your paradigm with this next episode. On today's episode, I'm really excited for this interview and conversation. I have the opportunity to interview somebody who is the creator and founder of a platform that I was able to have the opportunity to be blessed to speak on, which is Disrupt HR. And I just can't wait to learn more about her and for you to learn more about her. So, welcome to the podcast, Jennifer.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today.
Yeah, awesome. Well, before I jump into the questions, if you don't mind, could you please tell the listeners where you're podcasting from and a little bit about yourself?
Ah, we were chatting before we started recording. I'm podcasting from my couch for the first time ever because for some reason my internet is only working on the couch, which I guess it could be worse. And I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is, depending on when you're listening to this, hopefully it's warm and sunny where you are, but it is definitely not here today. It's cold and frozen. And I am a professional speaker and coach. For the last 16 years, I have been really passionate of being about the opportunity to be out there in front of leaders, business people, particularly HR and recruiting types, the people, because that's my background. And I like to talk about things around high impact leadership, strategic HR, building a strong personal brand. So, those are the topics you'll often hear me speaking at conferences or corporate events about. And as I said, I've done that for the last 16 years. Disrupt HR came along through there. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more, but it's really a labor of love. And my title as Chief Excitement Officer was chosen intentionally because my role is really to help other people get their message heard and their voice on a stage somewhere around the world. Disrupt HR has been around for 12 years, and we are now in 172 cities in 32 countries. Almost 11,000 Disrupt HR talks have been given, so a lot of people have had the opportunity to share their ideas with the world. Prior
Wow.
to Disrupt HR and speaking, I spent about 20 years in corporate leadership and executive roles in HR, about 4 years in executive search, got an executive coaching certification during then. So, again, I'm passionate about leadership, people, all things talent in the workplace.
That's awesome. I love it. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will just jump right into the first question. We'll change gears and talk about your name and focus all things on Jennifer. So I am curious, before I brought you my idea and asked you to be on the podcast, did you have any idea what your first name meant?
I'm sure over the years I might have, either seen some sort of tool that someone's created or maybe at some point I did Google it, but I don't know what my name means or I don't think my parents chose it because it had any specific meaning. It
Yeah.
it actually when I was growing up, my maiden name was Johnson, so Jennifer Johnson was my name, and Jennifer at the time I was growing up was the most popular girl's name, and
Mm-hmm.
Johnson was the most common last name. So just even in my small community where I grew up in Tennessee, there were 7 or 8 Jennifer Johnsons. And so whenever people would meet me or come across me and I'd say my name, they're like, which one are you? And I'm like, I'm the good one. The one, because there were some that weren't good. I'm the good one, the one that you like and you want to know, right? So I'd love to know what Jennifer means, especially since it was so popular and I think still is.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I did some research on it and I think it has a great meaning. And it's a very different meaning actually. So it comes from Welsh origins, excuse me, and it means fair one, white wave, or white spirit. And it was most popular in the US between the years 1970 to 1984.
There you go.
Yeah. And I did a little bit more digging. So obviously the word white is in there a lot, and white symbolizes purity and goodness. And then the word wave, because I thought a white wave, that's very beautiful. And it could be powerful or peaceful. But the word wave actually symbolizes constant change, motion, emotional depth, or transformation. So, what do you think about that?
Of course, I like all that. When anything that describes me as awesome is sounds great. How often do you come across someone's name where the meaning is negative? Probably never, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing for sure.
But yeah, white wave, white spirit was the other one. Was that?
Yeah, fair
Oh,
one, white wave, or white spirit.
wow. Wonder about all the Jennifers of color. How do they feel about that?
Right? I know for sure.
There are plenty of us out there who are all different shapes, sizes, and colors. So
Yes.
interesting, though. So, in your vast research on different names, uh, how does this one kind of fit in with that? Is it similar to the way other people's names are described or different?
It's different. I think the word wave is totally different. I've never seen the word wave in the definition of a name ever. So I thought that was pretty powerful.
All right, us Jennifers, we're unique. Way to
Yeah,
go.
for sure. Yeah, and it's almost kind of like you can it's up for maybe some interpretation because like when I'm on a beach and I look at a wave, like you can see somebody surfing the wave, you can like see like sometimes it's like scary powerful or it can just be like a beautiful view. And so I think there's a lot of dynamic with that word for sure.
I like that. Yeah, let's grab that and claim
Yeah.
it.
Love it. Okay, cool. And do you know by chance how your parents named you, how they chose your name?
Yeah, again, I don't think they were into the meaning of it. My father's name was John Henry Johnson, also very common. Um, my mother was Peggy, but we always made it work because she was Peggy Joyce Hurst was her maiden name, so she was Peggy Joyce Johnson, I guess. Um, but my dad wanted us, my brother and I, to be JHJs. So John Henry Johnson. My brother is Jeffrey Hurst Johnson, and I am Jennifer Holly Johnson. So I think the name choice was more we got to pick a JHJ.
Yeah.
And if I they had a boy name picked, if I had been a boy, my name was going to be Jennings Hoyle, which I'm glad for that boy because that doesn't sound like a great name to grow up with.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I've seen that a lot, especially in like larger families where they just stick with the same letter and then
Mhm.
they just get
Yeah,
creative with it.
my brother has 4 children, and all of his children are JHJs as well.
Oh, cool. I like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Okay. When thinking back growing up, have you ever had the thought cross your mind, I wish I had a different name?
100%. I went through I'm sure it was a phase in junior high, I believe, or maybe early high school, where I hated my name. Again, it was very common. And in the effort to differentiate myself, I demanded that I wanted to go by my middle name, which I don't particularly like, Holly, but I was just like, that's the only option I got. So,
Yeah.
Holly Johnson, it never took off. No one would comply except for one man who was a leader in my youth group at church, and he is probably in his 90s now, and whenever I go home to church, he always calls me Holly. So I
Oh.
appreciate Joe for that because he was the only one that latched on to my attempted name change, and still, many years later, still plays the game with me, and I appreciate that. But if someone said the name Holly, like in a group or something, I definitely wouldn't turn around.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And if you were forced to change your first name, is there a name that you really like that you would want to change it to?
Well, that's a great question. never having viewed it as an option, I haven't explored that. I'd probably do some research and I probably would choose a name that actually meant something, even if just to me. I mean, there's no name that comes to mind that I'm just like, oh, I really like that name. I'd
Mm.
probably choose something meaningful.
Yeah.
And probably again, I wouldn't go crazy with it, but it's something maybe that would be more unique to me. It's kind of that, I teach personal branding now. So how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah.
So run into the same problem. My last name, my married name is McClure. So there are Jennifer McClures out there. And especially early on in the days of social media, there was one that was pretty prominent. She talks a lot about media and social media. And um, I don't, it certainly wasn't because she was bumping up against me, but she's more Jen McClure. But we constantly get tagged for each other on LinkedIn, and even years later, I'll get tagged in something, and all these likes start, and I'm like, "What is this? And what's it about?" And then I'll message the person. I'm like, "Please tag the right Jennifer. I'm sure she needs credit for this." And like everyone, I have a Google alert set up on my name, which it's never worked really well. The only thing my Google alert shows me is when the Jennifer McClures die. Uh,
Oh,
but there's also through the Google alert, I found, there's one that's an agricultural blogger. There's a professor, Jennifer McClure. So to your question, I would probably choose something where I could buy my own name as my URL and website
yeah.
because I have the .net for my website. And I always tell people, don't click on the .com, don't make it more valuable. Maybe someday I can buy it from her, but I can't. She's pretty well known.
Yeah. Okay, great. And I would imagine that Jennifer probably hasn't ever been mispronounced, right?
Oh, yes, it has. Yes, sure.
Really?
Yeah, people are creative in ways you wouldn't imagine now. Did any pop to mind? But certainly, yeah, it's been butchered.
Okay.
And I always say my speaking business name. I have Disrupt HR, but my speaking business name is Unbridled Talent. Which again, I tried to get creative. I wanted to combine my passion for horses and my passion for people in the workplace. And so after like a year and a half of not starting a business because I couldn't think of a name, which is a dumb reason not to start a business, but finally had someone suggest to me Unbridled Talent. The URL is available. I bought it. I'm like, we're going with this. That name, that's again, I give people advice now. Don't wait to start your own business to pick a name. Go with ABC Corporation, and then you can always change it or DBA or do something different. But the reality is, no one can say or spell Unbridled Talent, and that name gets mispronounced unabridged, unbridled, which is not even a word. But I get introduced on stages all the time as Jennifer McClure from Unbridled Talent, and I'm like, what are you? but but yes, especially since I'm someone who, as I said, often and to be fair, these are volunteers who are reading your bio on stage, and they're probably nervous. So no matter how much they prepare, they get up there and they mispronounce your name, and you're like, you just laugh it off. I think I'd say the problem, well, problem it is, it's a little annoying, is more that people shorten it, which is not unique to just Jennifer, but I'm
Yeah.
not Jen and I'm not Jenny, but people, will call me those things without even asking. And she denies it, but my best friend will call me Jen. And when I joke about it, she's like, I never do that. I'm like, you do. But it doesn't bother me. I'm joking about it, but it does
Mhm.
amuse me that more often than not, I get labeled as Jen McClure, which again, there is one out there. Let's let her have that. Um, and nobody, I always try to ask if I see a Matthew, are you Matt? Are you Matthew? I try to be respectful about people's names because I know for some people it is a big issue. For me, it's not. You can call me, I always say, if you call me whatever you call me, just don't, as long as it's not a bad word.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. And so I know that you just learned about the meaning of your name, so you haven't sat with it for a while.
Yeah.
But now that you do know, and now that you're aware of the meaning, do you think that there's any relevance on the way that you act or the way that you see the world around you based upon those words?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I mean, I doubt it. I imagine if I'd been Jennings Hoyle. even as a girl. You could probably call a girl Jennings, especially in
Hmm.
today's world. I'd probably still behave the same because I'm still me and my unique soul, I guess.
Hmm.
But maybe there was some power claimed along the way because of the maybe the privilege that even comes with having a name that people understand or recognize or don't have questions about. Again, with people who have unique names, they suffer the mispronunciations their whole life. They maybe their resume doesn't get reviewed because it's not viewed as a common name or people don't associate that with it. Or it's like my son. I was a JHJ, which was a cool thing. My ex-husband's family, they were all Williams. So his dad was Big Bill and he was Little Bill. And so when my son was going to be born, I said, we will absolutely not have a teeny Bill. And they were they were like, well, he absolutely has to have William as his first name. So the compromise was he's William Andrew, but we call him Andy. And if you ask Andy, who's now in his 30s, that was the worst bestowed name we could have given him
Oh.
because of the drama and trauma of always being called William and having to correct the teacher. And
Mm.
it's funny now he goes by Andrew in his work life instead of Andy because his dad is retired from the same company. And he shared with me that he goes by Andrew at work because he knows it now. If someone calls him Andy, they know him through his dad. And if they don't, then he's been able to claim his own reputation.
Yeah.
So again, how people view and use their names, I think to what you explore on this podcast is always interesting and unique. But I guess I've just never thought about it, and as I said, I think some of that is the quote privilege of having a fairly common name to which people associate probably white women.
Hmm.
But there are, again, I've met Jennifers of color and they are out there. Um, but white wave and white spirit and all those powerful terms, hopefully that was just imbued upon me by my parents and I didn't even recognize it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, I only have one more question for you.
Mhm.
So, when I first started my podcast a year and a half ago, I wanted to see what really well-known books were saying about names and the importance of names. And I just Googled what is the best-selling book of all time. It happened to be the Bible, and there were quite a few examples in the Bible where it talks about for one example in Genesis, God tells Abram that he's going to now go by Abraham and he used to call his wife Sarai now Sarah. And I
Yeah.
was just curious, what is your opinion about what do you think the significance is of that even being mentioned?
Well, as a person of faith, I think, having been taught or learned that the naming or the changing of names by God in the Bible was very meaningful and symbolic, giving uh, Simon the name of Peter because he's the rock and the head of the church. And, um, there were reasons why those choices were made in the Bible. So I think that just reinforces that names can and do have a lot of meaning. I'm going to have to Google that. I don't think, well, I would be super surprised if there was a Jennifer in the Bible, especially if she was reassigned the name of Jennifer. I don't think there is. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think, uh, the Bible is a great example, whether you are a person of faith or not, of if
Hmm.
you view it as history, even that uh, the use and the meaning of names for people of how important that is and how often um, even if someone has a name in the Bible, maybe they're called something else because of the meaning around what people assign to them in terms of what they call them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
Mhm.
Great answer. Well, those are all my questions I have. So, do you have
Wow.
any questions for me?
Well, yeah, I think, podcasting is a labor of love often in and of itself. And having a podcast about names is uh, a choice that you've made. Tell me
Yeah.
why you made that choice and what you've gotten out of the conversations you've had with people about their names.
Yeah, I love that question. I feel like it was definitely something that was just like pressing on my heart because I was doing a lot of self-reflection and trying to like understand a deeper level of my purpose. And I think that it just kind of was an idea that sort of was sparked with my fascination in automatology. And then I thought, I kind of analyzed all the different ways that I could share this information and research this information. And I thought a podcast would be probably the best avenue for me to take. And it's been actually such a great gift and a blessing just because I've gotten to meet people like you and learn more about different people. I've interviewed over 100 people now, and I've gotten a lot of insights and takeaways and just like a lot of lessons learned, especially about my habits of what I tend to say and how I tend to respond to people's answers to my questions. So it's good to kind of refine your skills by and learning how to do that through a podcast. So it's been great.
Well, I know I'm probably not the first guest that's asked this, and your people that listen to your podcast already know, but your name is unique. What does Jama mean?
Yeah. Jama is a Hebrew name. It derives from James or Jacob, and it means ultimately supplanter, which means to turn over. And so, my translation of turning something over is you're essentially looking, when you turn something over, you're looking at it from a different perspective, possibly a different paradigm. And so, I tend to just say paradigm shifter because it actually reflects a lot of who I am.
Yeah. So everything has a name. You said that the study of names is called onomatology. Was that correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, you are the only onomatologist I have ever met. So I am
Awesome.
honored and proud to meet you. And I did enjoy your Disrupt HR talk where you shared about names.
Thank
Love the
you.
uniqueness of the idea and your focus. So thanks for doing this for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. It was such a blessing for sure.
Hmm.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I mean, I got questions all day long, but we'll give your podcast listeners a break and allow them to listen to another episode where you've talked to someone about the meaning of their name,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to meet you.
and you as well.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe or follow the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps me continue bringing you meaningful conversations with remarkable guests. Don't forget to tune in next time for more insightful discussions and inspiring stories. Until then, thank you for listening and keep striving to make a positive impact wherever you are. And don't forget to tap into the meaning of your own name to find a deeper sense of confidence in your purpose.